Phenology, the study of the timing of plant and animal seasonal cycles, can be observed by anyone who has an interest in nature. Phenology has a rich and deep history. The first phenologists were indigenous peoples who carefully tracked the seasonal events of plants and animals, passing down their ecological knowledge through generations. You may have heard adages such as plant corn when oak leaves are the size of a squirrel's ear, which was observed by Native Americans centuries ago. The first known written evidence of phenology can be found in Upper Paleolithic cave paintings in Europe, dating back 37,000 years ago. Early people placed symbols denoting the lunar calendar next to images of animals to record their seasonal timing. In Japan, the bloom timing of iconic cherry trees has been recorded consistently since the 9th century. These records demonstrate a striking shift in recent decades. Starting in the mid-18th century, Western science approaches were used to understand phenology. French entomologist René de Reaumur established that plants must be exposed to a particular amount of warmth to flower. In the mid-19th century, Franklin Huff of the Smithsonian Institute coordinated phenology data collection by volunteer observers all across the eastern U.S. Around the same time, the term phenology was brought into the lexicon, coined by botanist Charles Morin to refer to the study of recurring seasonal cycles of plants and animals. The word phenology is derived from the Greek pheno, meaning to show, bring to light, or appear. Several early Western naturalists paid careful attention to phenological happenings. Thomas Jefferson kept detailed records of crops at his home in Monticello. Henry David Thoreau wrote detailed records of plant phenology at Walden Pond. Aldo Leopold, and later his daughter Nina Leopold Bradley, recorded detailed records at the shack in Wisconsin of plant and animal phenology, including arrival times of migratory birds. Lucy Templeton, a columnist with the Knoxville Sentinel newspaper in Knoxville, Tennessee, wrote a weekly column called The Country Calendar between the 1930s and 1970s that included her observations of seasonal activity. We can learn a lot from these carefully kept records of seasonal cycles. For example, scientists have compared Thoreau's observations of flowering plants that he recorded in his journals in the 1840s to the same species at Walden Pond in recent years. They found that, on average, species are flowering about 7 days earlier than they did in Thoreau's time. There are a number of potential reasons for this, including the rise in annual temperature due to climate change and the influence of the urban heat island in proximity to Walden Pond. However, the important thing to note is that without his valuable data set, we would not have information about what happened in the past. In recent decades, more and more volunteer scientists are becoming involved in tracking phenology. We can learn a lot from the data collected by volunteer scientists, as shown in this graph depicting change in the center of bird abundance for 305 widespread species over the last 50 years. These data were collected by volunteer scientists through the Audubon Christmas bird count. We can see that the center of abundance has moved 40 miles north over the last 50 years. Volunteer science, also called citizen science, is becoming increasingly prevalent in the peer-reviewed literature. There was dramatic growth between 1997 and 2014 in the number of publications featuring citizen science, including dozens of papers featuring Nature's Notebook data. Data collected by volunteers are extremely useful. Authors of a study, published in 2014, found that the quality of data collected by volunteers on a project-by-project basis has generally been found as reliable as the data collected by professionals. There is great value in these volunteer efforts as well. Volunteers contribute an estimated $2.5 billion each year to biodiversity research. You too can track phenology as a volunteer scientist. Join Nature's Notebook and track the seasonal timing of plants and animals where you live. Learn more at USA-NPN.org.